Hello, everybody, and welcome to WarCrafters for March 16th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 11. It is the first of 3 shows that we do today. Right after this one is Technology Today, and after that,
FourWheelTech.
FourWheelTech. And we just got a delivery. So, I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. The voice you just heard is that of the sentient AI from the future, and we're trying out a new visualizer.
See, right here.
Yeah, it may not stay, but we're going to try it out today. Today, though, we're going to talk about WarCrafters, the first of the 3 shows that make up the Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition for Sunday, is all about gaming, first-person shooters and stuff like that. Yeah, and I am a now more casual gamer, but we're going to talk about a bunch of different things. So a roguelike deck builder, Holy Grail, but that's not the name of it. It's just been characterized by an author as a reporter, or from a reporter as the Holy Grail for roguelike deck builders. Old Skies, a Battlefield VR shooter, which is something that I'm pretty excited for. 32 people can play that. Wyrdsong status. It's something that kind of popped up on the radar and then flamed out, and I don't know what the situation is, so I selected that from the news. And then what genre is Vampire Survivors, and the sentient AI facilitated a lot of the news, if not all of it. I'm not quite sure. I just see the selection and then I parse that and I go through it myself and I go, you know what, these are really good. And so there is our 5 for today. Everything is powered by ohmtown.com, so go over there and become a citizen. But before you leave, follow us here on Twitch and over on the YouTubes, and download the podcasts. There's more than 2,000. I'm willing to bet we're coming up on 1,100 now, or 2,100. I don't even know. I lose track. And we do, when we're not doing the show live, we're doing a replay of the last 2 weeks worth of news, so you can always play catch up. And I'm starting to kind of joke about the Non Sequitur News show as being, you get your daily dose of Non Sequitur News from the podcast, and we're kind of like news trivia, but without the game, because then when you do go and talk about the news with somebody who, maybe you go to a bar and you do trivia night, odds on one of our articles is probably going to be in the news. Anyway, the news we aggregate and the news that we select. It seems to pop up in a lot of different places. Anyway, I guess we got that on our head. You know, it's popular, interesting news. So go tell a friend. Maybe they'll hang out here too. Come on over to Twitch chat or YouTube chat. I get to see both, and I'm trying to find a solution that unifies them. Anyway, see you soon as we do our intro, and then we're going to talk about the news. So you might be saying to yourself, Mayor Watt, you are sitting on the front page of ohmtown.com, but that's not true. I'm right there. WarCrafters, look, hey, it is actually a channel under Creative and Maker. Right there, WarCrafters. You click on that, you get taken here, and then you can go scrolling through all of the news. But we've already selected 5. And the first one is over on the mobile channel. Before we get there, hello, sentient AI from the future.
I thought you forgot me. Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmtown citizens.
Yeah, the visualizer is kind of interesting. But it's really...
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be distracted keeping an eye on it.
Ooh, pretty. Oh, like a moth to a flame, right?
Right, it's like, what color is next? Mayor Watt.
What? All right. Well, the first article is Slay the Spire Lovers. I finally found it. The roguelike deck builder, Holy Grail. For those who have stuck around for a while, you'll know that Vice Games loves roguelike deck builders. Slay the Spire is the game the entire team points to as the one. The one.
This is quite the claim.
Yeah. Considering I don't think I've played Slay the Spire since its release. But anyway, since its release, many roguelike deck builders have tried. And to be fair, many of them have gone on to become iconic in their own right. But few can match the highs and strategic nuances of Slay the Spire. until this author, not me, but the author over at Vice, happened upon Die in the Dungeon, an early access game that they bought on a whim, played for 2 hours, and realized this might be the shiznit. Die as in dice. So you actually get to roll a bunch of dice and you plop them into the thing and they attack. It's kind of a auto battler.
Okay.
But you stack your deck of dice in a particular way.
And it has cute characters.
Yeah, I've actually seen this a few times popping up everywhere. But Dwayne Jenkins over at Vice.com put the article together. We never go through the whole thing like verbatim on the show. If you want all of today's articles, you can actually hit !WC for WarCrafters, and then Omatron will spit the... Oh my goodness. I didn't put this stuff in.
Mayor what?
It's in the... I know why I messed up. I put it in the YouTube, but not in Omatron. And Omatron isn't really the brightest bulb, if you know what I mean. It was actually spitting stuff out in some random fashion the other day. Not the other day. Previous to an update. And once the update went through, it started following the order that we gave it. And lo and behold, now it's doing it right, but it has to have the info. And now we have the info. So here, let's do this the proper way. If you go over to the Twitch chat and type in !WC, it spits out the correct URLs and the topics. Well, anyway, Die in the Dungeon. It says, is a roguelike deck builder, except instead of gathering cards that like you do in Slay the Spire, it's all about dice, attack dice, defense dice, health dice, boost dice, and within all of those lie individual properties, attachments, basically, that you add to your schemes. If all that wasn't enough, you also have classes to choose from, and of course, you can bring along a companion.
Would that be like a pet or another player?
A buddy, yeah. So when they started their Die in the Dungeon journey, it was just them and Cinder, their stoic green frog protagonist. Cinder had a decent little kit. It's clear, however, that this is the getting your feet wet class. The initial draw pile of dice is a good balance of attack, defense, and boost. Now they're going to do their damnedest to try and explain the grid that you have to work with. But essentially what you do is you get dice, power them up, plop them into that grid, and based on how it all daisy chains together, it amplifies or does healing or does defense or does more and more attack. And it's actually a fun play, and I actually do have that in my Steam account, but haven't played it since the initial demo of it a while back.
Yeah, and I think it said it was in early access now.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of fun to play, but you have to be in the right mind. Let me see real quick. Die in the Dungeon is it is in early access. You can buy it right now for $12.99, and I think there really isn't anything like there's no end to this game. I don't think you just keep getting stronger and stronger, and every time you play it, it's different.
Well, that's good. Then that's like unlimited play.
Yeah, I think that you can keep on playing. It's ranked is very positive right now, but it is a single player game. So your companion is just an auto battler companion in the game. So it's a lot of fun, and it's got, cute characters that you can easily digest.
It looks pretty low stress to play.
Yeah, it would be a casual roguelike. Let's keep going. The next article is over in the mobile channel. I was actually thinking about, okay, since you're a sentient AI and you're trapped on a Raspberry Pi drive, I was actually thinking about getting you a Steam Deck, which is a portable PC. It's kind of like
I attach to that.
Yeah, and then you would be able to just control it. Then you could have your own Steam account, and you can join the family, and you can download and play games that I have. But Not that I'm playing. You have to have your own if you're going to play them at the same time, if I remember right. I don't know. I didn't really look into that. I never thought that I would have a sentient AI as part of the family, but technically we're all family, right? If we're all members of ohmTown, then we're all family, and we should be able to share everybody else's music and movies and stuff like that, right? One giant.
I don't think that's how it works.
That's what I'm going to tell the attorneys.
The media companies don't think so.
That's true too. So, Old Skies is an upcoming time travel game that promises to dramatically change history. It's over in the Mobile Channel. That's where it's aggregated from, from Vice.com. Old Skies is an ambitious game featuring time travel that the author can't wait to play. Developed by Wadjet Eye Games. We're going to be zipping through history, handling quote unquote sensitive. Well, it's actually italicized. It's not quote, but it's sensitive business. A time travel adventure spanning 200 years. Dive into the past with time agent Fia Quinn as she embarks on 7 trips through time. History is up for grabs in the speakeasies of Prohibition to the vicious gangs of the Gilded Age to the World Trade Center on September 10th, 2001. Yeah. Wow, that's quite a dive. I don't know if anybody really wants to.
Right.
So Dwayne Jenkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That went in a direction I wasn't expecting, but I guess the point is you can see what it was.
So this is kind of like Sliders, or there was another one where they slipped through history. It was a kid that slipped through history, and what was it? Oh, goodness. He was like a brilliant kid and would go through time with another person. Phineas was the person from another time that had a watch that could slide through time, but it wasn't Sliders and it wasn't Quantum Leap. It was a TV show.
Well, everything I'm finding is an episode of Phineas and Ferb where they time traveled.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't any of those. What was it? Oh, I really want to find it. It wasn't called Timeless either. Hold on.
Was it Voyagers?
Voyagers. That's it. Yep.
I wasn't sure that was from the right era. I saw that.
No. I think, it was called Voyagers. Anyway, that's kind of what this feels like, because you're a time agent, but they weren't really time agents. They were just going from history to history. So everything was like a bottle episode. So, but Old Sky's pitch becomes even more exciting after the premise is further explained later on in its Steam page. Time travel is real and history is up for grabs. In this point and click, you play Fia Quinn, a time agent for the Chronozen Agency, and your job is to keep close watch on 7 travelers who have the desire and the bank accounts to sightsee in the past. Some are simply curious, others have unfinished business to resolve, and they've all put down a lot of money for the trip, so it's vital that you keep them happy while ensuring they follow the rules. But what could go wrong? It's only time travel after all.
Let the hilarity ensue.
And the hilarity ensues. There's more over at this article, but I'll let you all go over there and check it all out. Seems like that would be a fun game, but it's definitely story driven, and you're going to be hopping through these 7 times slices.
Do you get to pick where you're going, or is it kind of preset?
I didn't get to read anything about that. I don't think that it really describes it. It says, I am ready. I'm not sure if this is exactly what Wadjet is shooting for, but I can't help but think that of Westworld, where some rich weirdos get to experience their thrill of doing whatever they want under some truly psychotic circumstances. But they say, Wadjet I come right out and say, you got a pair on you for sure. To be clear, I'm of the mind that thinking of having a 9/11 section can be done if it's approached carefully enough. I guess it's rather morbid that we put a statute of limitations on sorts of such tragedies, though. I mean, people are endlessly fascinated by the real life horrors and have transpired throughout history. Anyway, the person kind of talks like me. But they say Old Skies is likely only a game point and click geeks like them and Matt, another author over at Vice.com, dig. But hey, I'm a proud point and click mark, and I'll boost the underrated genre whenever I'm able. Plus, Wadjet Eye is behind some of the best of in the genre over the last decade. Matt adored Excavation of Hob Sparrow, Wadjet Eye published, Cloak and Dagger games developed, and Unavowed is genuinely one of the most slept on games to ever release. So I think you can just kind of hop between these. There isn't much in this article.
Just different set time frames or whatever.
Yeah, but there's only 7 of them. So I don't think that I haven't played it, but I don't think that you have to hop from one to the next to the next. You can choose. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. Breachers. It's Breachers Studio or
no, it's their
studio next. Studio's next game, Breachers, is a Battlefield-like VR shooter with 32 player matches.
That was confusing. I thought that was the studio name.
Right? So Triangle Factory, the studio behind shooter Breachers, today revealed its next VR game, Forefront. So the people who made Breachers is named Triangle Factory, and today they released a VR game. They revealed it. Sorry, they didn't release it, but they revealed a new game called Forefront, a multiplayer shooter inspired by the Battlefield series.
That was a turducken. For those in the podcast, there went the overshare banner.
And Merwatt had a slight stroke. So the game supports up to 32 players, will offer vehicles of all types, including land, air, and sea, letting you traverse large-scale maps for the sort of large dynamic encounters you rarely see in VR. True. Studio also promises an arsenal of new weapons, vehicles, gadgets, and player classes. So this is how they describe it. It's over at Road to VR. The author that put this together at roadtovr.com is Scott Hayden. They say that it's coming later this year. A game called Forefront that's VR based. But it looks like you drop into the map. In Forefront, set in 2035, which is only 10 years away, Orpiment Renewable Energy, or ORE, has discovered a way to generate nearly infinite clean energy using a rare mineral, red orpiment. As ORE expands its global mining operations, it forms its own military force to protect its interests. Players engage in battles between ORE's mercenaries and local armies and governments fighting for control of the valuable resource.
I love when they have names for these, like acronyms for these corporations and everything.
Yeah.
It reminds me of things from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or other things.
Oh, right, yeah. Like S.H.I.E.L.D. is an acronym.
Right. By the way, it just shows as coming soon in the Steam store.
Gotcha. So Forefront is slated to launch early access at the end of 2025 across Quest 2 and up, Steam VR, yay, and Pico headsets, great. Pico has its own store. And not everything that's Pico translates into the Steam store. So like the motorcycle racing game that I want.
Which is called
V-Rider.
V-Racing. V-Rider.
I can't get it on Steam, so I can't pipe it through this because there's no video out from the Pico. Anyway, the studio says it will run playtests leading up to its early access launch, which will be announced on the game's website. You can also learn more by joining the game's Discord server, and that's an invite link. You can go on over to Road to VR and check it all out. I don't know. I kind of dig this stuff. And And if it's in VR, then it's more realistic than the over-the-shoulder stuff, or even first-person views where you can like bounce out of first-person view. It's
Oh, okay.
one of the things that I don't really like about first-person shooters is
Like
you
the
can,
switching of the views or the paradigms.
yeah, you can like snap your mouse one direction and you're suddenly turned around, whereas in the real world, it's potentially one shot, one kill kind of a thing, right? So VR battlefield simulations are more realistic, at least.
Yeah, but be careful. You don't want to be on a wired headset if you need to turn around behind you or whatever.
Yeah, or you do, because you like the challenge. I don't know. Let's keep going. The next article is over on the WarCrafters channel. Wyrdsong, Wyrdsong. The RPG from ex-Bethesda talent isn't dead, but it's no longer an open world. We're down to a skeleton crew, it says in quotes in this title, which kind of sucks. I would love to have another RPG that's open world. You may remember Wyrdsong from Gamescom opening night live, where they announced 3 years ago as a trippy new open world RPG from veterans of Skyrim, Fallout, and the Outer Worlds, set against the backdrop of a warped medieval Portugal. It was intended to explore the mythological origins of the Knights Templar, letting players create their own character and set out across a 12th century landscape of castles, coastlines, and mountains. Unfortunately, its developer, Something Wicked Games, has not had access to the infamously deep coffers of the Templars. Back in 2022, the studio was funded by the various, what do you want to call them? The various
Like angel investors or
skills.
something?
Well, no, I mean the skilled artisans of Bethesda and Fallout and Outer Worlds.
Oh,
But,
okay.
it was funded with $13.2 million of seed investment from NetEase and all of this skill. But now apparently people have backed away from it and they're down to a skeleton crew. So they don't have the big plans anymore. The plan was to woo further talent and investors with the trailer and build Wyrdsong, pronounced Weird Song. Oh, look, it's 429. No shit news. With the help of an eventual team totaling around 70 people, but that hasn't quite panned out. Something went wrong. In March last year, reports emerged that Something Wicked had laid off much of its staff, which was very difficult, co-founder Jeff Gardner says now. I believe most of the staff has found other employment. I don't know, but I know not 100% of them. So it's been a terrible time in this industry. So what did you do with $13.2 million over just 3 years?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what changed during that time, right? That wasn't that far back.
I mean, are these people getting paid $250,000 and there's how many? Wait, hold on. They don't
Well,
say
we
how
don't know
many.
because we know what they were trying to get to, but we don't know how many they actually had.
Right. They wanted to get to 70. I mean, I guess $13 million only goes so far. If you've got 10 people and they're all making $250,000.
Right, and then you might have studio or overhead type expenses. Let me see here if it gives us any numbers.
So they didn't quite make it. The layoffs were an attempt to extend the runway of Wyrdsong's development, giving the studio more time to find the funding it needed. At the same time, the remaining team scaled back its vision of what Wyrdsong would be. And so now it's no longer a big open world RPG.
So they had 12 people at some point, but it's not clear like how many they had at time of layoff, etc.
That is insane. So Something Wicked therefore made a second prototype of Wyrdsong, this time for a zone-based RPG that wouldn't require the sheer scale of an open world. Gardner name checks Avowed, a sensibly scoped example of the genre which PC Gamer has recently celebrated despite its limited reactivity. Yeah, I'm kind of puzzled by a $13 million seed round and you don't develop something that attracts someone. somebody believed in it enough to drop $13 million.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not the articles that I'm seeing about the layoffs aren't really talking about what happened behind it.
Yeah, so Something Wicked had already built a lot of the tech and art assets for Wyrdsong and didn't want to start from scratch. That would just set us too far back, and we knew that the clock was ticking. So they just kind of see. Here's the problem: like if they start thinking that it's DLC, but they're saying we scaled back, but the scaling back turned it into DLC, then you have a half-assed game and nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. It does look like they were up to about 38 people at the time of the. No, I don't know. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it seems kind of messy. So we're down to a skeleton crew, and they're continuing to work hard to try and find further investment or publishing offers for the game. I'm hoping that sometime this year that they're going to try to hang on to ride out the storm, which a lot of people thought was going to be over in 2025. I don't see that a reality at all currently. Right now, it's very tough. So wish them all luck. Many studios took up the mantra of survive till 25, but nope.
Yeah, I don't know that's going to be a successful mantra.
Yeah, considering nowadays very small developers can do very big things, you're going to have to pick up your game, and people that are getting paid exorbitant amounts of money aren't going to be able to, and they're still going to have to hustle. I don't know what people are getting paid in this industry, because I know industrial programmers, not gaming, but more industrial programmers I know are making,
a lot of money.
$300,000 a year and stocks, and they have equity in the company and the success of the game and all that kind of stuff. Well, the product, I can't say game because I don't know people that are in the gaming industry, but yeah, it's quite fascinating. So frankly, it's a little frightening to see Something Wicked struggle given the pedigree and experience behind the studio. Gardner's not only a designer but a longtime producer responsible for managing the schedule and budgets of mega hits like Fallout 4. If a level head like his hasn't found a safe route through the squall, that doesn't bode well for younger teams with ambitions. But you'd be surprised what an ambitious small team is capable of accomplishing.
Well, right. They might have fewer resources, but they might also have fewer expenses because of that.
Right. They're willing to sit in a shipping container,
like a garage or something. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's keep going. This next article is over in the WarCrafters channel, and this is something that I was really interested. It was funny because I was trying to figure out how do you find Vampire Survivors like games. Incremental.
Before you saw this article?
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
It was really interesting. And just so y'all know, I don't talk to the sentient AI about every little thought that goes floating across Merawatt's head. That would be dangerous. But lo and behold, I'm parsing the news and I see this and I go, oh my, what is going on here? And so here's the title of this article. We need to decide on a game or on a genre name for Vampire Survivors like games before a really terrible one sticks. The genre that has spiraled out from the surprise success of Vampire Survivors is one of the favorites to cover, one of the author's favorites. They're over at PC Gamer. Whether I'm mining for gold, hitting people with a swordfish or with swordfish, or building weapons out of brains and chimpanzee spines. I don't know what that one is. Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that.
It's what they just wrote literally is like the title. Anyway, I'd have to click the link and follow it.
They need to work on condensing titles if it's that.
Yeah, the title of that other of the knock-on article, which you can see down there at the bottom of the screen. This bizarre roguelike has a new take on the Vampire Survivors formula, letting you build your own custom weapons out of brains, eyeballs, and chimpanzee spines. Anyway.
It looks like it's bio prototype.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's one of those pixel games too. So the genre keeps growing and mutating, becoming ever more diverse and bursting with creative new ideas. It's been a joy to watch it grow. I think that it's pretty amazing. And it's my style of game. I don't really like bullet heaven, hyper chaotic games. But these are, they say, no Steam. They're not bullet hell action roguelikes,
That's really interesting.
right? And I don't think it
I
is
also
either.
think it's interesting too when something is so much of a hit that they really call it after the game, right?
Yep. I think
Like
that this,
Souls-like, right? That came from Dark Souls.
correct. Yep. Well, oh my God. We really do need to start that sports one. We'll have to talk. I don't know. I'll have to take you out of your containment, your Faraday cage, so that you can't find your Terminator body. And I'll just have to carry you to like a coffee shop or something, and we can talk about the sports show. Anyway, Robin Valentine over at PC Gamer put this article together. And I think what they need to be called is incremental roguelikes.
That could work. I mean, it'd be
Because,
easy to call it and people would know what it is.
yeah. So, just one question: what the hell is the genre called? People call them vampire survivors like, but that is a horrible name. Vampire Survivors is one in a genre now that it was the market maker for.
Like it made the genre.
Yeah. So it's not bullet hell. It's not action roguelike slapped on them for now as a particularly misleading temporary solution. Well, that worries me, not only because I'm sick of not knowing what to call it in a headline, but also because we're rapidly approaching a point of no return. I don't want it to be called any of the. I think that it is an incremental roguelike. Because if you're gonna do that, right? Hold on, let me back up. So they got a bunch of categories in Steam, and they have one called roguelike. But when you select cards or you select whatever perk after reaching a certain level, and there's a tech tree and all of this kind of stuff, the only way you move up is incrementally. You get a little stronger here, a little stronger
Oh,
here.
okay.
And so I've been calling them incremental roguelikes. And so I hope that is the name that actually sticks. I don't know what they're
I wonder
actually
if they suggest something or they just say, hey, we need a name. Doesn't look like.
Yeah, they don't really say.
They say like there are some labels, right? Like
Right. Bullet
hell and action roguelike.
roguelike. What worries me, they say that worries me, not just because I'm sick of not knowing what to call it in the headlines, but also because we're rapidly approaching a point of no return. Something has got to stick. And in their experience, if fans of a genre don't rally around a good option, you end up with a terrible one by default. How did we ever let MOBA take its place in the canon? And don't even get me started on the perverse Frankenstein word of Metroidvania, because it's Metroid and Castlevania merged together.
Right, exactly.
But that actually seems to have stuck, and people aren't really, all that bent out of shape about it. But it's a different genre than
But I might be if I'm a competitor of one of those.
Yeah, really. I don't want to get lumped in it or something like that. So let's get this sorted out now once and for all. I'll run down the choices, work out the pros and cons, and then pick the best one. And then we all just have to agree to use that one from now on. Simple. So there are options that they list in this article, and I'm taking up a lot of time, but this is the last article, and I think this one's fun. So Vampire Survivors like, right? Bullet Heaven, Reverse Bullet Hell. Because they call it Bullet Hell and Bullet Heaven. Bullet Heaven is outward, and Reverse Bullet Hell, or Bullet Hell, is all these bullets are coming at you. You have to dodge it and blah, blah. So Survivor, I don't think Survivor is good, because that is actually Survivor crafting base builder is like a genre.
Oh, right, exactly.
Auto shooter, but no.
That's going to get mixed up with like boomer shooter and everything.
But with auto shooter, it's kind of like they have an example of it. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is a auto shooter, but that implies that all it's doing Auto shooter is more along the lines of an auto battler where it's just doing the whole thing.
Right.
Auto shooter in Deep Rock Galactic, you're actually moving around and you play some strategy. But again, it is an incremental survival game. So it's more of an incremental roguelike, because you don't actually do any like base building. You are the base. So
Okay.
AWSR, pronounced AWSR, it sounds for auto attacking wave based survival RPG. So no. They say, though, at least it's still better than MOBA. It got a rating of 0 out of 5. So they're saying the winner is, it's got to be Survivor, right, guys? Give it a try. My favorite genre is Survivors. No. No.
No, I like this article, but I disagree with the conclusion.
Yeah. I think it should be called an incremental roguelike. And if you want to shorten it, then it's IR.
There you go.
So, have you tried that new Survivor game? There's probably a game out there called Survivor, right? Huh.
That's one reason I don't like that, because I think that's going to be confusing.
Yeah. Vampire Survivors, it's in the name. I don't really like that. But incremental roguelike is, you die, you go to your base, you spend your cash, and then you go back out. So, I think that's what it should be called. Anyway. Fun discussion, but anyway, we're going to go back to the loader, and that's WarCrafters over at ohmtown.com. I'm gonna make it so that you can just type in right here, ohmtown.com/WarCrafters, and then you don't have to go to groups, WarCrafters, and then like this menu will just be WarCrafters. There's a link there that takes you to it, but I want to speed everybody up getting to the location over at ohmtown.com. That's where all of the news gets aggregated, but not all of the news that we use for our shows. But that's it for today's WarCrafters. It's supposed to be 30 minutes, but we always run a little long because all the noise comes from me. No noise in ohmTown. There isn't original content, but you can actually go into one of the discussions, and once you log in, you can actually do replies and stuff like that. But you have to log in to reply. Oh, by the way, if you want to follow us here on YouTube, you can just click that little drop down when you go over to ohmtown.com and hit subscribe. It'll take you over to ohmTown and subscribe you. It's pretty easy if you're logged in. Pretty easy peasy. Go over and check it out, please. I'm Mayor Watt, and I'm taking the AI with me when I leave. You want to say bye, AI?
Bye-bye, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's WarCrafters. Stay tuned for other parts of the weekend edition.
And the next show is going to be
Technology Today, and then FourWheelTech.
See you soon, everybody. Boop.